For the neck measurement, which will be what we will use in the making of our collar, it will begin from the notch position of the left to the notch position of the other side, which is the right, and we got 15 inches. Now, there is also a half neck measurement, and that is the point where the back piece meets the front piece on the neck on the left side and the right side, and that is 6.5. To start with, for our notch collar, I cut out a paper of 4 inches by 15, and I'll be working with this paper to create our notch collar. The first thing I'll do, I'll get the center of the length. So on that center line, I will make a straight line to the other side like that. Now for the back of our neck, the back neck measurement I took initially when I started this tutorial, I took 6.5 measurement and 6.5 mark, and I'll be dividing that 6.5 into 2. The half of 6.5 is actually 3 1/4. So I'll be marking 3 1/4 on both sides of that divide. So after marking 3 1/4, I will take a ½ inch upward. Then I will join both 3 1/4 points to that ½ inch point. And that's the first curve we've gotten. The height of our notch is actually 1.5 inch. So 1.5 inches will be marked on both sides, but that will later be altered. So after marking 1.5 inches, I'll draw a line to our 3 1/4 position. Now I'll do the same on the other side too. So after doing that, I'll go straight to the confirmation of my 3 1/4 mark on the left, and half part is actually 7.5. So what I did here now is I took the measurement of 7.5 from that center, following my curve. Now, not following the straight line, no. I actually followed the curves. That's the curve and the straight bended line I made. So I marked 7.5 on it. You know, normally the rectangle paper I took is 15 inches, which is 7.5 on both sides. But when you make a curve and something like that, you don't actually get that. So I took ½ inch backwards also, and I also took a ½ inch backwards. Now the ½ inch I'm taking backwards will make my notch actually notch very well. So on that center, I will take a ½ inch downwards. Then I will join to the left hand angle like that, and I will also join to the right end like that also. Everything I'm doing, I will still confirm everything before I cut it out. So after this, I will check now to see if what I got is actually 1.5 after slanting, which is not. So I will chalk the 1.5 inch mark, because the height of my notch must be 1.5. So I'll chalk 1.5 on both sides, and I will use my ruler to join the actual 1.5 inches mark to the center of the top, and also do it on the other side as well. So on doing this, I've actually started mapping out what I would actually cut off. So I'll straighten the 1.5 on the side also. Then for my initial curve I took, I will also straighten it out. So the first thing I will do now is to cut out the side, then the top, after doing that I'll cut out the other side, then I'll come to my collar, curve and slant. Mind you, this collar, curve and slant, the summation of everything is 15 inches. So I cut the left slant, cut the curve, and then I go to the right slant. So both slant and the curve will amount to 15 inches, and I will use this pattern paper to cut out my interface, the interface I will be using for my notch collar preparation. So I'll bend both on the center line and trim. So I'll trim it just to be sure both are of the same exact size. And after doing that, that will be all. So after cutting out the interface, we added it to the fabric, the plain fabric you see there, and also use that plain fabric to cut out the back piece. So you can see when we're cutting out the fabric, we make sure it is all ½ inch wider than the interface. So on that ½ inch on the downline, we'll add sprinkles of water and we'll bend with our pressing iron. So you bend that ½ inch, but you make sure you don't catch the interface when you're bending the fabric. And after doing that, you make a ½ inch stitch to hold down the bended part of the downline. So after bending and sewing the downline, you would see now that the back piece will now be ½ inch longer than the front piece on the downline. So you sew on the edge of all the front piece like that, leaving only the downline. After preparing the collar, we'll just start attaching the ½ inch excess to the neck from that notch point. We'll attach it all the way to where the center notch of the collar will also meet the center notch of the back neck. Then back all the way to the opposite notch of the other side of the shirt. So after joining, you can see what we joined from one notch straight, even met the notch of the center point of both down to the other notch. Then you cover up like that, push all the sewing excesses inwards. After pushing it inwards, you start sewing from the edge of that notch on the edge of the collar. You adjust as you are sewing, making sure everything is well aligned. You sew to the end of the other notch, and that's that.